On the screen before you is a now former sheriff's deputy with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department in Florida. And you may be wondering, why would this young man, Jesse Hernandez, a former soldier, former person who was in the military, ended up in law enforcement, why would he resign from his position? Well, Jesse Hernandez had an incident that occurred approximately on November the 12th of 2023 last year. And if you want to understand the reasons why Jesse Hernandez is in some hot water, we'll let this news article kind of explain it for you. And it goes like this. Florida deputy resigned after mistaking acorns falling for gunshots, opening fire on suspect. In the video that we're going to take a look at. An Okaloosa, Florida sheriff's deputy resigned from his position after an investigation into an officer-involved shooting revealed he started shooting at a suspect after mistaking the sound of acorns falling on his cruiser for gunshots. Excuse me. I needed to drink something because I want to read that again. He started shooting at a suspect after mistaking the sound of acorns falling on his cruiser for gunshots. Okay, that's. I want to know more. I'm intrigued. I want to know more. First of all, I know the young man did survive. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. I know that he did survive. He did survive. Marquise Jackson did survive. I know that did happen. But on November the 12th, 2023, a woman contacted the Okaloosa Sheriff's Office to report her boyfriend, Marquise Jackson, had stolen her vehicle at about 8:45 a.m. Jackson returned to the neighborhood at around 9:10 a.m. and was detained by responding deputies. Now, the deputies were under the impression that this man was armed. Based on a photograph that they claimed was a handgun with a suppressor on it. Turns out it was not a handgun with suppressor, and this man was unarmed. He had no firearms on him whatsoever. None. He was unarmed. But he was detained by responding deputies. The deputies handcuffed and placed Jackson in the backseat of then Deputy Jesse Hernandez's patrol vehicle. In video footage captured from Hernandez's body camera, the deputy is seen walking back to his vehicle to perform a secondary search of Jackson when he heard a pop and perceived it to be a gunshot. Now, this deputy we know was in the military. Jesse Hernandez. I'm going to tell you, as a military veteran, there is a difference between somebody who is a combat veteran and somebody who sat behind the lines. Okay? There are certain concepts such as fobbits. It's like the Hobbit from the Lord of the Rings, but a fobbit is somebody who sits on the forward operating base and doesn't leave, never leaves the wire, never does any hardcore combat, or doesn't even do ECP duty or entry control point duty. Entry control point duty, leaving the wire, very dangerous. But most people don't even do that. They sit inside the wire and just eat food. Yeah. So, understand now the difference between a combat veteran and somebody who sat on the fob, because I also know from his military record, he did not serve in hardcore combat. And we're going to see some evidence of that in just a second. We're going to take a look at Jesse Hernandez's finest work.
What? Oh, where, right there?
All right. I don't know. My legs went numb for a second.
Yep.
I heard a pop come from.
Go this way. Can you move?
Yeah.
We hold our officers to a very high standard of service. And this particular...
Pause right there. this man saying, this sheriff here is saying that we hold our officers to the highest standards of service. Let me point something out to you. Now, I train dogs. I train specifically, my favorite breed is the American Bully, but I train German Shepherds because they're more practical and more useful for what I need them for. So I understand that when my dog behaves in a certain way, that is a reflection of me, right? And we get that concept with animals. We get it with parents. We get it with gangs and organizations. We get it with companies, company culture, right? We get those concepts with this. But secondly, when it comes to police officers and sheriff's deputies, do they play this game of, well, this is an isolated incident. We don't have a whole catalog of officers just firing off at people for no reason. No, these are not isolated incidents. And if you keep having a track record of police officers across the country just firing at people for just shooting at people for having freaking hair combs, pulling out the freaking wallet, not having anything, just being unarmed, running away, laying down, being asleep. I mean, you've had people mistake flip phones, cell phones, flat phones, Nokia phones, Motorola Razors. I mean, throughout the years, officers have just opened fire for different reasons. And now you want me to believe it's an isolated incident. It's not, it's only isolated when you catch it on camera and it makes you look bad. That's the only time that it's an isolated incident.
Time we let the public down.
Okaloosa County Sheriff Eric Aiden in this video posted to social media speaking on the incident of November 12th, 2023, while on a call with a suspect in the back seat. Then Okaloosa County Deputy Jesse Hernandez reportedly claimed it was this noise that he thought was the detained suspect shooting at him.
Shots fired! Shots fired! You know.
Hernandez and Okaloosa County Sheriff's Sergeant Beth Roberts, who was on the scene, both shot into the patrol car. The detained person in the back seat was reportedly not physically injured. Officials say he was fully searched before he was put into the patrol car and after the incident, but he was found to be unarmed.
So the man was searched inside of the patrol car, and even before and after he entered the patrol car. So how in the world did they mistake this? Sounds like a hit to me. Sounds like an officer. Sounds like almost like a deputy gang scenario, like we've seen so often across the country. Sounds like someone was trying to earn their deputy gang spot, and they got caught. So they used the I'm a crazy veteran dodge, which is an actual insult to combat veterans like myself who served ECP duty, combat veterans who have left the wire. It's an actual insult to us. Because those of us who have been rated at 100% have actually done that. Been there, done that. This guy sat on the fob. I checked his record. He never left the fob. Multiple deployments, never left the fob. Trained with special forces, never left the damn fob. But they let this clown become a freaking police officer, and now it's a reflection on all veterans now. No, it's not. It's a reflection on fobbits who wish they could have been the actual combat veterans like myself, who are the actual embarrassments. See, this upsets me because he should know better, for one, and then two, he then tries to use that dodge. Unbelievable, man. Just unbelievable.
The noise was reported to be an Acorn. Hernandez resigned just weeks later.
We have an obligation to our staff to try and train them the best we can so that they can go home unharmed to their families. But we have just as equally and just as important of an obligation to our public. Even if they're being investigated for a felony crime, we have that same obligation to protect them.
In a recent,
and protecting them means you just mag dump into a car. This is not unusual. This is a par for the course, but this sounds very fishy. It sounds like a freaking attempted hit. Shout out to that brother, Marquise, for making out of that, man. God, you got an angel, brother. You got an angel for real. Shout out to him for making it, man.